There we go. We're live. So tonight we've got our top leaders from the Robot Kingdom. Who are they going to be? Plus, what next for Hasbro? Let's do this. Transformers the show.
Magical place, we're on our way there. With toys in the millions, all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us. Soon after bedtime, when dark nighttime falls, Jeffrey and Helper stock up all the shelves. From ceiling to floor, books, board games and bikes, teddies, puppets and dolls, beds, spaceships and trikes. There's millions, says Jeffrey, all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us, Toys R Us, Toys R Us.
Hello and welcome to the Transformers the show. Hello, people in the chat. Hello, Mick, RJ, UK Mets, Guzzy. Who else have we got? We've got Sunstreaker, Stuart, hi Stu, Devastator, Robert, Mr. Gav, you sexy man. Hello, how are you? Gareth's in the chat. Hi, Gareth, Captain Ian, Arrowfire. Here's Lily, and a few more as well. Right, loads coming up tonight, but as always, let's start off with that news.
I talk some TV, and now the news. Don't touch that dial.
Noise.
Well, speaking of Toys R Us, Toys R Us is the one who's managed to get these figures in hand. Apparently, there was a Hasbro event at Star Action Figures. I think that's what it's called. Correct, that's fine. But he was able to get his hands on some of the newest figures, including Agent Knight. So he has got a video review up for people to watch, should they wish to. Now, obviously, after the show. But
Your sound's breaking up, Andy.
I was doing it before. They were working on all of the Wi-Fi down this estate this week, and I think my Wi-Fi is breaking. So,
Yeah, I think you need to move region, to be fair.
I do. I'm going to move further north.
Scotland. Technology's
Newcastle.
there.
Close enough. Anyway, right. Can you hear me now?
Yep,
Yes.
hear you fine.
Right. Knight Rider, basically, Agent Knight. So these are stills from Russ's video, his video review of it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out after the show. You can see some comparisons between the vehicle mode and obviously previous crossovers that we've had. A lot of people are excited about this one, being that it is based on kit from Knight Rider. For all you young'uns who don't quite get it, Knight Rider was a 1980s action program for
Callus is on his right
Or
hand
everyone.
only. Interesting.
Anyway, let's not get into that. Agent Knight has lights. Look, see how it lights up, just like Kit had the light, the Cylon type light.
Do they
And then
move?
there's the robot mode. I think it does. I believe it does. Yeah. There's his bio, should you wish to read it. Moving on. There's the head sculpt. I'm sure I read somewhere that the goggles he has on are supposed to be based around some kind of sunglasses that Michael Knight wore. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, he
That
did.
might just be people making shit up, but you know,
I mean, he did wear them.
he did.
did wear
He
them.
did definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all red, but maybe I'm wrong. And then there's some size comparisons again with some of the other crossover figures. But also,
Do you know what? Someone needs to reenact a scene with that figure of Michael Knight trying to eat pizza off a kitchen floor.
David Hasselhoff when he was drunk.
Yeah.
drunk
Just
Hoff.
comatose.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sure,
shit, that's the
somebody will figure that
crossover we want.
Yeah.
Anyway, there he is with some chug figures, a G1 Optimus, and the new, which we'll see more of in a second, Transformers 1 Studio Series Megatron
With Willie's on.
with wellies on, with his massive long legs. And there you go. I mean, a lot of people seem really excited about it. Who's pre-ordered it here?
I pre-ordered it, but I would say I'm terribly excited about it.
The car
Why
mode
would you
looks
be?
mint. The car mode looks mint. The robot mode leaves me meh.
Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah.
plain, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
He's
mean,
got
I'm sure it's
pants on,
good. I'm sure
isn't
it's
he?
brilliant in hand.
These blue
Yeah.
special pants.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
it's basically Y-fronts. It literally looks like fucking Y-fronts. I just
I'll unsee that now.
They're not tighty whities, they're tight Louis.
Y-fronts with leg stockings. Way to go to make it look masculine. I don't know.
Our Poppy is enjoying it anyway. Right, so then the other figure, one of the other figures that you managed to get early, our Rust, was the Megatron Transformers 1 Studio Series figure, who has legs for days. Yeah, it's just.
Do you know
it's
what,
like
guys? Don't
something
buy
mix.
these things because they're awful. Buy YOLO Park. That's what
The
you
yellow
should do.
part
Just
look
buy.
really good.
Yeah. Don't worry about transforming it. As if you would anyway. You do it once. That's it. Just,
You don't transform it anyway, you liars.
yeah. Just get YOLO Park and
Just call
enjoy
them
it.
robots. Don't call them Transformers. Just call them robots.
Like the head sculpt. I've only obviously seen the trailers and clips. Did that head sculpt really capture the Megatron from the film? A bit harsh?
No. I don't think the figure captures the Megatron from the film. I think it's abysmal.
I love
I
Hasbro,
think
obviously.
These are McDonald's toys.
Well, we'll talk more about something like that later on. But it doesn't. To me, this looks like the kind of thing you'd pick up for a tenner from B&M. You know, like the
It's a Happy
authentic
Meal.
stuff.
It's a Happy Meal toy.
Yeah, the
I'll
hollow
pay
shit.
tenner for a Happy Meal.
I think Hasbro have went. I think the adult collectors might be stupid and they're selling to us now, and they're just going for it.
You'll love that. Look, see, so if you don't, it is a bit parts forming. If you don't put the zoom, you son of a bitch. If you don't put the actual maximum zoomage, look, you can see his head. You can really see it there. But there you go.
Spoiler free. I
They
don't
cover it.
really think it's that. It's not a reflection of how Megatron looks in the film.
Rave reviews. Yeah.
I've said YOLO Park. That's an official Hasbro licensed product. You know, so if Hasbro, you're watching this, we have recommended another Hasbro product.
Backtrack.
But the Prime is good. But the Prime is good. I bought the Prime today.
Yeah,
Prime is
I
good.
think I would give you that. But
Where
Ben,
did you
is
get
that
the Prime
because
from,
it's next
Pete?
to that Megatron?
I ordered it today from In Demand Toys.
Lovely. Is it Smiths have it in stock now as well? Apparently, I'm sure somebody said Smiths have that Prime and the Studio Series Bumblebee in stock for home delivery. So for those who
I got the Studio Series Ace probably as well.
Don't you think that Prime should have had hands that could open and close at least?
You would have thought for a Studio Series. It feels like they're going backwards at times. But anyway, this is the YOLO Park AMK Pro Series G1 Nemesis Prime, which is apparently going to be up and available on the September the 1st. Not long.
Yeah.
And the photos, as usual, make it look good.
That looks amazing. I think YOLO Park are just like, they know how to make the toys look good.
I mean, look at that. Again, if you're going to have something on the shelf and you're not going to be messing around transforming all the time, you may as well have something that looks as good as that does.
Yeah.
Here he
I'll get a
goes.
Robertson of your high tail collector.
Come on, Lily. Say the line. Do the thing you do.
Dance, monkey!
We'll move on while we wait for Lee. So Transformers 1 have revealed some more posters, but there is something else coming up after the posters that is spoilerish. So if you are somebody who's avoiding spoilers about the Transformers 1 film, you might want to, mute it and look away for how many minutes? A couple of minutes if we go through it quite quickly. So there's Bumblebee anyway.
Dave, you made a comment there. Said you can't be arsed with these kits. I'm going to tell you the truth now. I've got into packets of randoms which are more complicated than those kits. Those kits are basically just click on in the exact position you need to click it on. You just can't fail. They're quite they're easy.
I was going to say people who I know who've had them who aren't even into kit stuff normally. Even they've said it's not.
Yeah, I didn't even cut myself. I made mine.
Didn't slice yourself open. That's always.
However, where did I'm dying to ask? How did you struggle with the randoms packets? What was the issue?
Well, I tell you, I tried to use it one hand to open it because I said to me, Lynn, I could use one hand to open it, and after I decided to use my teeth and go
science.
Because I tell you now, it's impossible to open those things with one hand.
The other thing about these posters apparently to note is that for those who haven't seen the film, you get to see Soundwave and I think Starscream's alternate modes for the first time. Certainly Soundwaves. Anyway, there's Soundwave. And
Transformers 1 is an epic movie. You need to go and see it.
Starscream's voiced by Steve Buscemi, isn't he? Which I'm really hoping that's. I just love Steve Buscemi. I just think that could work brilliantly, and I hope it does. I bet it does as well. Paul, did you want me to do the spoiler bit? There was a clip, wasn't there?
Yeah, I haven't downloaded it, but I can download it. It's all
Well,
in
it's up to
mixed
you. I mean, I can carry on. We can do it at the end or something if you want.
or
I
Spanish.
don't know.
It's probably a better way
In
to-
Spanish, yeah. Is it Spanish
I'll
or
download it
Portuguese?
if you got it now. We can play it.
I haven't got the video. I've got the stills that are this is the spoilerish part. So for those of you who don't want
All right.
spoilers, this is the spoilerish bit. It's more about who you see than anything necessarily plot wise. So are we ready?
Yep, spoiler bit.
Right, let's crack on. So we've got Red Alert there. So he is in the film, even if it's just as a little. I don't know. Jamie and Pete could be sitting there with the poker faces on. Who knows? Maybe they're in it a lot. Maybe they're in it a little. There's Red Alert. We have some bots watching the race, and I think one of the suggestions is we've got Huffer, or somebody suddenly Huffer coloured towards the back there.
Because you can see his hands.
Yeah, visible hand. Well, it must be.
Don't get me angry.
or hangry in this case. And then this is it the leaderboard, I think, from the race, and you notice some names on there. So from different eras of Transformers as well. So not just G1. So we've got some names on there. You've got Override from Transformers Cybertron, which makes a lot of sense because she was from the Speed Planet where they literally lived to race. Slingshot is on there. Dead End. High Beam. Was there really a Transformer called High Beam? I remember watching something where somebody was talking about when they named Transformers and somebody had come up with the name High Beam and that's what they were going to call it. And then somebody in the office said, you can't call it High Beam because High Beams is another word for breasts.
Do you know, it did remind me, I always knew Cliff Jumper was a dick.
Sorry, go on.
I mean, Cliff Jumper had a freaking cargo this time. What a dick.
Yeah, Cliff Jumper. Will he die? Who knows? Let's watch and find out. Anyway, so yeah, there's several on there that you might be interested.
They keep saying it's meant to be part of the Bayverse universe, but realistically, it's not. I think it's that producers just got a habit of saying it's part of that universe, and everyone else goes, no.
They've contractually, something with Michael Bay, they've got to keep saying it's part of it, but it's not. Or, well, at least as far as I know.
Alternate timeline. Kelvin timeline. Is that a Kelvin timeline? I don't know.
Last spoilerish bit, I suppose, if you're talking character-wise. So the suggestion is nearest to us there on the left is Sunstreaker, and then next to him is Ironhide, and then, of course, RC, who I'm sure most people recognize. And we knew about RC anyway. We've seen pictures of RC from the art and stuff anyway. So there you go. That is, let me just double check. Yes, that is all the spoilerish stuff. So we're going to move on to non-spoilerish stuff. This is, of course, the comic book edition Straxus. And this has come via Harbinger of TFW 2005. And these are in-hand photos of it, which again,
I love
quite
that
nicely.
photo. Just
I know that's really clever. I thought that was clever as well. Yeah, and there's a couple of nice ones in this actually. So you get a bit of that size comparison next to his mold mate, I suppose, Galvatron. There you go. And then while they tidy up around the back. And there's that alt mode, which does capture that flying cannon thing quite well. I mean, what is it? It's flying cannon. What more can you say? There you go.
I'm quite excited about this.
It does look good. And here's him sat in the throne. If you want him sat in the throne, as he did in Darkmount, which I believe was Darkmount his. Was it the Darkmount that was his? I'm sure it was. Where he had his smelting pool.
Yeah.
I want him in a tube.
And then some size comparisons again. So you with a couple of the other comic book bad guys.
Does the head clip off easily? Do you know?
I don't know. I've not seen anything about whether the head can be removed. I hope
I would have loved that.
If you can pop it off, that would be perfect, because then, you know what you can recreate then if you know the comic books.
Yeah.
Next to what I believe is the APC version of Megatron. Again, could be wrong, but the paintwork and stuff seem to suggest that. And then with some other random bad guys as well, so you get an idea of his size.
Got a nice collection, that individual.
They do, don't they? Big news. Hot Wheels. They do the Bumblebee. All right, people are collecting these, so this is big news for someone. But there's a version they've done that is metallic, and people thought it must be Goldbug. It's not Goldbug. It's just a metallic version of Bumblebee, because that's what Hot Wheels do. So yes, if you are after these things, there's another variant now for you to get. even bigger and more exciting news that thanks to Burger King in Chile, that's Chile, we've had our first look at the Burger King, well, they're not Happy Meals, are they? But the toys that they're going to be giving away with whatever their version of Happy Meals are. And apparently these are expected to be available in the US within weeks. And I wasn't going to put it in because it's like, eh. But then the old McDonald's Happy Meal toys of Transformers, there's actually a market. There's a collector's market for them now. So I thought it was worth mentioning for those people who really want everything. Like Lee, he'll get these.
I think you made the right decision to include those, by the way.
And for people like Ian, who for some reason really love Beast Wars, here's the information about that soundtrack that they were talking about, which is now available to stream through Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and YouTube. And I know that's exciting news. I'll be slapping that on a playlist sometime, probably.
I'd rather wait.
So I've just looked up. So Burger King, they don't have Happy Meals. They're called Burger Nipples. Burger Nipples.
Burger Nips.
That's what they call their little.
Dave,
little
sue. I would sue them if I was you.
Dave.
Fight the man,
Bang
fight
out.
the power. God damn it. And then, did I just skip past one? No, I just forgot to download it. There was supposed to be a bit in there about, I don't know if you all saw this on it was on Cybertron.com where I saw it. The Skybound's Transformers comic is currently outselling every single DC comic book that is going at the moment.
Well, that's not too hard, is it?
Oh, come on, Jamie, let him have this moment.
No, but realistically, it's not too hard. Everyone's, I mean, most of the kids I teach now, all reading the sort of Japanese and Korean stuff, and especially webtoons. So,
yeah, but I think with the adult market, DC and Marvel are still considered.
No, that is adult market. Some of the teachers buying the comics.
All right. Could have sworn you just said kids. That's why I was confused.
Yeah.
Anyway, Transformers 1. This is the packaging for the YOLO Park stuff. So Jamie's mentioned how good the YOLO Park stuff is earlier on. If you wanted to get the YOLO Park versions of the characters, this is what the packaging looks like. And you can see inside, so it's that lovely kind of fold-out box thing. Very nice if you just wanted to keep them in the box. Although why? Because it seems a bit pointless when they're not put together. But you could.
A bit serial killer-like, isn't it? Keeping them dismembered.
Yeah, dismembered in the boxes. That's how I like them. There's a Elita 1. There is B-127 or Bumblebee as we know him.
I want to say something, but I can't say it because of the spoilers, so I have to ask Pete afterwards. So I don't care if you guys are there, you get spoiled. But, obviously can't do it live.
That looks better, doesn't it? That looks better than the studio series.
Oh, so much better.
Yes, because his legs aren't 95% of his body.
But Pete, you're probably thinking about this as well. What? I can't say it because it says...
yeah, we know you both seem to see this... So
they don't mention it.
Jamie and Pete have seen it.
They don't mention it though. That's the important thing. They don't bring it up.
So
the thing about the thing with the thing.
They go, "Oh, Pete, I need to have a secret conversation with you about this. I can't tell anyone else."
We're not that much different.
Strictly speaking, they could have told us, but then we'd ruin it for us. So maybe
yeah.
Right, let's go on to some third party.
Right, so just a little bit of a change. We're experimenting with different intros. So new intro for third party. Let's do it.
Pinky, pinky, funky, daddy bought the donkey, donkey died, daddy cried, pinky, pinky, funky.
That was really good. I love that. I feel like it.
The donkey died.
I feel like it encapsulated third-party news. Donkey died. Anyway, right. Shall we crack on? New Age toys. So we already saw different versions of this blaster toy, but of course they do, as Gav would say, all the flavors. So here we have their Marvel comic deco with retooled head.
Absolutely stunning. I'm going to get this. I'm not a Legends collector, but that looks wicked.
When you say you're not a Legends collector, you do have quite a lot of Legends Transformers, don't you?
Technically, yes.
Well, it's like the lady doth protest too much.
Yeah, I don't know how many. I don't know how many you need to be deemed a collector.
It's the sort of thing you say to your wife. No, I don't collect them. I just had the odd 100 or so.
Just take up an entire stack of shelves. Anyway, there he is. And there he is breakdancing. Beautiful. That'll be how you'll have it posed, I'm sure, Pete.
Yes.
Definitely. And then the other version of it that they've also is the clear plastic version, because we all love clear plastic versions with cartoon head. And there you go.
You just think gummy bears, don't you? When you look at it, it's like that gummy kind of texture.
Get in your mouth. I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Thinking about
Nom,
edibles
nom, nom,
again.
nom, nom.
Scandalous. And there you go. Stick the horn things on his arms. Great. And there's lots of Kremzeeks.
Oh, they're awesome. We need to get them.
Multiple Kremzeeks.
Oh, where could you get them? They're cool.
I have no idea. I don't.
You've got to find out.
I don't even think they come with it, according to the information. No, it doesn't mention anything about
we
Kremzeeks.
need these. We need these
Drop,
in our
drop a
life.
message to New Age Toys, or somebody in the chat will probably know. If you're in the chat and you've not commented before and you know where these are from, let us know. We'd appreciate it. I mean, Jamie would anyway.
Anyone
right,
with taste
we'll move
would
on.
appreciate this.
Magic Square Brawl, or which is they call it Heavy Gunner. This is masterpiece scale, isn't it?
Yeah, this is exciting.
This isn't mini. This is because
Because
every
they're
time I
a
read
little
Magic
bit
Square,
fiddly, legend scale transform. So having it a masterpiece is a little bit good. I think I'm quite excited about this, to be honest.
does he come with a crushed head? Because in the comic book there was that bit where was it Megatron lost his rag with him and just crushed his head and lobbed him across the wherever they were. It was like a quarry. That'd be good though.
Megatron.
Hey, mentalist. But there you go. It does look very good. I like Brawl. He's one of my favourite Combaticons.
I think I might get this.
You're not a masterpiece collector. But
No.
you might get
In
this.
fact, I don't even collect Transformers.
I'm not a Transformers collector, but I might get this.
Spider-Man!
Yeah.
There you go. Brawly Brawl.
So how much do we think this is going to be? I'm glad you asked. I think the Legends one's about £44, and it always goes up in price once they're released. So I think this one's probably going to be sitting around, hopefully £80, but hand on heart, I think it's going to be about £110. I reckon.
I was going to go with 100, but I
Yeah.
know nothing about masterpiece value, so I'm literally picking a number out.
I raise it to 200.
I
I'll
feel
get the link to
Stan's
this
toys.
$1 million. Anyway, moving on. There he is, Crushing Prime, and the most exciting, there he is as a leg, and there's the back of him as a leg. Lovely. Then Kang Toys. Oh, Kang Toys, for fuck's sake, take a break. Anyway, here's their. Sorry, I'm only joking. This is their masterpiece scale swoop, which is called Terror Howl, from their Dinobot combiner that they are doing. There it is as an arm. There's the same arm from a different angle. There he is. Because this is all based off the dive bomb, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so
Ian, come
bored
back.
of Kang Toys. This come out every week.
I know, but that's my point. Every single week there's some Kang Toys. It's like they just never
That
end.
just looks dangerous, like it's a fan you can use to slit someone's throat. I just
Like a
Think of
ninja
what
star.
you did. Think of what you did with that RC, Jamie. Think of the damage you could do with this. We'll find you
yeah,
in pieces in the
amputate
kitchen.
limbs. You know?
This is just brutal.
Me when would come
Absolutely.
downstairs and be like a bloodbath. You know, like, fix me.
Anyway, there he is. There's his
I mean, it doesn't even look good.
what a great review. It doesn't even look good.
You could hurt yourself and it looks shit.
Yeah. Well worth the money. Anyway, masterpiece scale. There you go. And there it is, standing in its beast mode. Lovely.
Hey, Sam. Sam's in America again.
Hey,
Flex.
Sam. It's a bit of a flex, isn't it?
Unless it means Milwaukee Middlesbrough.
Is there a Milwaukee in Middlesbrough?
No, there's not.
Okay, I wish there was now. In the airport. In
Yeah.
Middlesbrough.
Because Middlesbrough has several airports.
Do you know what? Teesside
Hey, it's
Airport
got Teesside, yeah.
made profit this year, and they've done a big thing about it. 10 years it's been declined, but it made profit this year.
It finally made a profit. God bless them. Right, let's move on. Because here's Mecha Invasion trailers and Crane, which is another set of Constructicons that we are getting from another company. Because there's not enough Constructicons in third party. So thank God we're getting some more. Shot
They look legends.
beautifully
They're
black and
legends.
white. It says
Depends how big
masterpiece scale on my information.
I mean, that
FG scale.
chessboard would make them probably about 2 centimeters tall, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that's carpet. I'm going to go out on a limb. Carpet panels. And there's the
I've been
old nose.
mistaken with that before.
I'm not sure where we're going with that. Moving on further. Magic Square Toys. This is for Gav Burgess because I know Gav will be interested. And this is their version of Nemesis Prime, which is called Truck Boy, black version. Yeah, it's black. And these photos came via 928 Toys Laboratory. So there he is. There's the back of him. There's the front of him, but this time with the chest open, so you see his matrix. There's the truck mode. There he is with Brian. You see where I'm going with most of these, right? Yeah. But yeah, Gav B, you collect some of these, don't you? I've seen your photos, so don't lie about it now. And there he is.
Can't go wrong with the Black Prime.
With a massive head. Chibi? Is that the style? Chibi?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it says it. I'm sorry, I didn't see your comment, Dave. Anyway, there's that. Right. So now we have to move on to this. 1 second. Lucas, what? I was studying for about 2 minutes.
Hi, Lucas.
You realise we're broadcasting live. This is not.
I thought I screamed. Just leave.
Fine. Just shut the door. Shut the door. Right, Leeds. Very good, Leeds. Yeah, you can go. You're not on the. You're not on the telly. If only because you're only wearing a dressing gown and pants for some reason. Right, moving on. He's not shut the bloody door either. Right, Fans Hobby MB27 Shield Team. There it is with their version of Armada Prime. So if you want a shield like in Armada, you can get one from Fans Hobby. There you go. Control your excitement. Right, no, but this is exciting. I will not hear disrespect on this one. Right, so this is, I want to say X-Transport?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, X-Transport. This is their ballistic. Now, this is obviously just the renders at the moment, but still, it doesn't matter because it's misfire. So if this is going to come to pass, then this would pique my interest because it's misfire. But there's more than one version. Yes, so that's the first one. But then you see they also have that one's called MX61. Well, they're also doing MX61T, which I assume is for toy, because what you're gonna get is a more toy deco version. Now that's the one that if it looks as good as the renders are making it look, I might have to get one.
It does look true, don't lie.
Because you realise you don't like third party.
Probably, but you've got to try it, haven't you? You got to broaden your mind, broaden your horizons from time to time.
Maybe
but that looks nice.
Maybe you can envision it.
I'll borrow it off someone else.
The sad thing with X-Transports though is they take so long, don't they? And I'm not a third party expert, but the Night Beat has been floated around for fucking years.
Are you worried you might be dead by the time it comes out?
Yeah, good.
So it won't be out in the next couple of years.
I've only got a good 30 years left. I feel like I've been waiting that long for Night Beat.
And that was 25 years ago.
Oh dear.
But it does look exceptional, doesn't it? It looks so good.
You know what? It's just like that shot. If it looks as good as that in reality, I think I might have to at least experience it before I sell it on. Just to have that feeling. And then that's the stickers, or well, I presume the stickers, or is it just showing the deco? God knows. And then this was featured amongst the photos they released, so I presume you get this with it. Anybody know why? It's like a Kremsieg drink thing.
Is China probably?
You misfire once you've drunk it.
Hey. Speaking of X-Transport,
don't need a drink to do that.
We haven't seen this yet, have we? I think we saw a grey model prototype, but this is X-Transport Xi'an, their blades.
Bleed.
And there you go.
Can't beat a blades.
People are collecting these, aren't they? I'm sure someone is. And there he is. It looks very much like blades.
Those reviews in. X-Transports are trash.
Good to know. I do like the butt propellers or rotors, whatever we're going to call it. I mean, is that accurate to the cartoon? Is that a cartoon thing? I don't know. There he is as an arm, which is when the real excitement begins. You can change the skids. So look, you can have skids that have wheels and skids that don't. Yeah. Woo.
Lucas wants to clarify he was in his PJ shorts Okay.
Please tell me he's not there in the chat.
Don't you go around spreading stuff about what he's wearing.
He's got his own YouTube channel. He's probably going to end up with more viewers than we do. Unbelievable. Kids. Right. I'm going to report him. I think, yeah, that's it. That's everything. That's all the third-party news, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
That's cool. Okay, right. Let's move on to some foreplay. Or pickups, maybe, because that's what's next.
We now return to the Transformers.
And I've only got one of these things. Right. Who would like to go first? Come on, Jake. What did you get this week?
I could actually go first, but I'm going to be taking a little bit of time, is because I'm going to be sort of like discussing stuff, if that's okay.
That's cool. Give me a chance to sort my flaming camera out.
Right, so if you could share that first, Paul.
There you go, sir.
So basically, I just, before I sort of like show you the image and stuff like that, I just wanted to talk about, this week, I had a day off because of, like, obviously it's summer holidays just now. And normally, teacher, you're working 70 hours plus a week and stuff, but some holidays you do get a day off to yourself. So I took advantage of that, and I wanted to do a shot with all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Transformer sort of party wallop figures. The trouble being, I only had 2 of the figures, but I wanted to have a shot with all 4 of them. So I decided to do either like stacking, or some people might know it as a composite shot, where I would take 3 images and combine them together. Not photoshopped as such, because it kind of devalues what you actually do. The whole setup is really everything you do for the camera to make everything else in the art package as simple as possible. So there you see the 2 sort of figures I'm going to be using, and I had Springer. I used him as a stand-in just so I could get the frame right. So I could have the width and I could have the height, because I used Springer and I would stand there and put him above the turtle just to see I had the right height if I had one in the air. So you're talking about, just generally messing around and setting up. The important thing is your camera tripod has to be fixed. You cannot move it. Once you start this process, that tripod can't be moved. Even the lights are kept the same. And if you have to move, because I'm not a very thin, delicate individual, but move some of the lights to get in there. I used Blue Tack as marker so I could put the light onto the exact same sort of space. Now, the next image is to show you again, what are the shots I was doing. I had one up there, which will kind of make sense to you. I had the stand box. It doesn't really matter as long as the turtle itself is clean. I could have all sorts of junk there because it's not going to be my final image. Now, what you'd end up getting is an image like this, with all 4 turtles together.
It's awesome.
This is kind of I had a sort of game plan, as I'm trying to discuss as I talk it through with you guys. I had it in my mind just to make it as simple as the composite photo. I didn't want everything to be super sharp and detailed, and I wanted everything to be as simple as possible. So I wasn't fooling around with light to bring out certain details on the eyes, etc. I was making everything as simple as possible. So to show you again, there's one of the images. There's the other image. And there's the 3rd image. So I combine all 3 of those together to get that image. Now, because the camera is fixed, and I've forgotten the damn name of the camera file, it will say if it's a typical camera file in a JPEG. You want the camera file, not the JPEG.
Raw.
Because that way, I've honestly forgotten the damn name of it, but it's because it's easier to fix the lighting. So everything's minimal. You don't need to do anything really in an art package at all. So Paul, if you could just close that, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share the next bit, and I'll find that name of that file in a while. So,
Guys,
can you
name your favorite wrestling? Raw. Well done, Robert Cup.
Raw. Yeah, it's a Raw file. I just can't remember what the damn maybe CB Raw or something like that. Anyway, there is your top file. There's a file underneath, and there's a file underneath there. It's a typical art package. It's Clip Studio. You could usually buy this for 20 quid. And it is simple as finding the delete, change your size to what you want, and because I'm this package. I'm going to see.
Whilst you look for it, do you want me to quickly
That's
play
right, yeah. So basically,
news.
It showed you just erasing the image, just showing you what they are.
Nice.
And they are, because I had it the wrong way out, and then you can reveal him, and that's just a sort of rough way of showing you. And because everything you could fix it, you'll have the shadows in place. It's a nice simple way, and you can control it completely what you're doing. I should have it sort of like there and stuff, but you can combine it sort of different layers, and hopefully that gives you an idea of what you're sort of doing. That's the different images there.
It's amazing, mate.
It's just to give you an idea if you want to do it, so you're not. I'll just go back into the screen. So just stop sharing. It's just to give you an idea how to do that sort of composite shot where you're not using fancy programs to combine it for you. You're in full control of what you reveal, so you don't need to worry about using a program to make the stand disappear because you never revealed the stand in the first place. Does that make sense? So you're not using any AI to hide stuff because you've done all the work with the photography beforehand.
Right.
And it's cheap. I mean, Clip Studio is like 20 quid. I just wanted to show you what I do. There might be fancy programs out there who do that all for you. I don't know what they are. They might cost a bit as well, but that is just a nice sort of simple method I use. And I do it for other stuff as well, because if I have two shots and I have different apertures and I have one with the sword is in a little bit of detail, I could just do that, overlay it, and bring out the sword a bit crisper. And
it's actually not too dissimilar. Sorry, go on.
No, it's exactly that thing you told me how to do your thumbnails. That was the whole reason I got into this sort of pathway. Because once you told me thumbnails, I thought, I could do this with other images, and then I went down that pathway. Sorry, go on, Paul.
I was going to say, back in the old days, we used to have film and film print, and used to put the projector up to get. That's almost how they used to do it using film, and how they used to enlarge it, and how they'd impose a composite image on top of each other would be similar to that. Photo chat.
So I just wanted to show you how I done that, and
awesome.
And how it's a cheap way of doing it, because I think I had some comments to some people, you got fancy programs or you got stuff. No, none of that. And I think if you learn to do it, maybe because I've learned this myself, I've not looked at anyone else and stuff, and if you learn to do it the slow way and the awkward way, maybe what I'm doing, when you do get the fancy apps that make things a lot faster for it, you appreciate it, but it also means you can fix the problems they encounter as well. And you can use the skill sets you have and apply it in other ways. And hopefully people out there, this will give you ideas on what to do. I only ask, if you decide to start telling other people this, please at least give credit to the sources. Don't say, this is what I've learned, when you've not. You've just been told it, But hopefully that will give some people an idea about, photography and some of the stuff you might get up to and potential to be, and save money if you have to do a composite shot with lots of figures. Just going to show you two other images as well. Sorry, I do apologize for taking up
no, it's cool.
a lot of time.
It's bank holiday this weekend, so enjoy yourself.
Just remember what we said, though. No one can share pictures of Swoop.
What? I've got Soup's my next photo.
That's the only thing we agreed. Was I haven't
Red.
got Swoop, and it'd be unfair to rub it in my face. So
So there is a photo I did of Springer. Yeah, that's a composite shot. I just had another image so I could bring out the sword better because it was a bit blurry. Apart from that, it's just a nice clean figure. I love the way the shoulders work. People keep talking about the ankles and the legs. You know, it's almost like you didn't watch last week, although you say you were in chat. In my version, the ankles and the legs work well. As I said last week, I thought it gave me better flexibility for how I posed the figure and how I moved them. They work that well. Does it mean it might not get looser over time, or I'm just lucky to have a very good copy, because all these things could be factors in Hasbro. The molding of the upper thigh is certainly different. You know, there's no gaps in there. And it feels more sturdy because remember, this is grass and normally a nightmare because it's got more buoyancy. But this figure holds well without having to use any blue tack or any tricks like a stand to help him keep his place. So if he's standing there and he's on buoyancy, for fuck's sake, stop asking me if his legs are better. You know.
Jamie,
Paul,
I have seen other reviews.
The toilet, get some cheese.
Jamie, I have seen other reviews that have said the same thing you've said, and you did say last week that the knees and the legs and the ankles are much improved on this version. So
yeah,
you know, if anyone was actually listening this time, they've tweaked it.
Yeah.
They've obviously recognised there's an issue and they've done something to it. So stop asking questions about it, people, especially you, Pete. I know what you're like.
Here is an image I've done of Swoop. Just honestly got the figure, not really done much with it. I'm really happy to have it. I'm ecstatic to have the Dinobots complete. If you look at the Twitter page, you know, there's a photo of all the sort of Dinobots there. I don't know. Andy, you've got Swoop. What do you think?
You good?
He's just good.
That's the full review. Imagine if that was, and I just stuck it on the channel. No, he's an exceptionally. I wasn't going to do this till my turn, but he's an exceptionally solid figure, like all the other Dinobots. I'd say it's difficult because they always get that new toy thing anyway. So when you first get them, especially when they're in like the good figures, you absolutely love them. But he's definitely up there in build quality. I'd just say he's quite. I don't know if simple's the right word. I'd say well engineered, so it's an unfussy, uncomplicated thing really to transform and stuff like that. And he poses well, and he looks good. And you stick him next to the other Dinobots, and he looks even better. And as Jamie said, Jamie's got the photo up on Twitter with all of them stood together, and it's worth going in and checking out.
I mean, he has got the pose. I just wish they filled some gaps, and I do wish the hands would open up more, and the knees are good, but I find the knees awkward. Although once you've set it up, then it's fine.
The only thing with the knees is the little pterodactyl type claw bits. Sometimes they get in the way a bit, and you don't know whether you need to have them really down or try and move them out the way a bit more. But it's a small thing, really. The general build quality, certainly on my copy, is really good, and the wings are great. They're nice and posable, and it's nice to get a figure which has very little QC issues, you know, without wishing to sound too harsh, but it is, you know, you get one. It's like a lottery when you buy a figure nowadays. You don't know what you're going to get. And he's really good. And I mean, there you go. Jamie's photo. If you're a Dinobot fan, if you haven't even started, just try and get them, find them somewhere. They look good, and you need them in your life.
Yes, you need a Swoop in your life. Swoop, the intelligent Dinobot, the thinking man's Dinobot.
You've got one, haven't you?
I have indeed.
How have you found him?
And I.
Or do you want to talk about it in your pickups, which you could perhaps go straight into now, if that's all right with Paul?
That is smooth, yeah. Hi, Lucas's dad.
Oh, wonderful! That's wonderful that one of Lucas's friends is now.
He's found you.
Bear in mind, he's 11. Oh, great!
Right, so this is the PG.
Say then.
the PG-13 review of Swoop. I think we are blessed in the era that we're living in, because I think, praise be to Mark and the rest of the guys. I think we're spoiled at the moment. And who would have thought we'd have had 5 leader class sized Dinobots? And I think he's fantastic. Transformation's great. He looks agreed. You never lost the faith, Jamie. Yeah. So I got Swoop. I don't think I can really add anything to what you guys have already said. I love him. He's great. I can't wait to play about and get all the Dinobots together. I have a slight concern that I don't have the shelf space, so I'm going to have to take everything down and have a play about with it. No, I didn't Mellow Shade. I got mine from Hasbro Pulse. Yeah, I got mine from Hasbro Pulse. My Swoop. So that was that, and I got a very boring Marvel Legends Scarlet Spider. I've got one.
Oh, cool.
I needed another one, so this one can come out of his cardboard prison. And that was it. Quite a sparse week, really. However, I've got some cool stuff coming next week.
Good. I'll go next then. What day this week? I didn't get anything. Nothing. No, not a thing. I did get stuff at TFN, so I think that counts. I've got Unicron, so I've always had him. But,
is he still unboxed? Or boxed, rather, I should say.
But I said to Lisa the other day, let's just forget about him for like 10 to 15 years. And when we get to the last 15 grand of the mortgage, we'll see how much he checks in at. Just pop him on eBay and say, thanks, Unicron. Funicron.
We won't be in eBay then. We'll all be in Chinese concentration camps. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'll be like, damn it. I wish I'd sold it earlier.
You slept on it. What is wrong with you? Right.
I'm fighting over apples.
Andy.
Yeah, right, I'll skip through this. So we went on a shopping trip last week, and I randomly decided to buy some of those red figures, or RED, or whatever they call them.
Oh,
so I got Soundwave, and you can see. Let me tell you the process on this photo. I put it on my lap, and I took a photo. It was. You'll get more tips from me later on, but that was, I'm afraid, what I did.
This was in your lap. You put it on your lap.
That's on my. I have to put my legs together as well, so it doesn't fall down through.
Did your penis not get in the way?
I remind you again, Jamie, that children may be watching.
How did you get your legs so close? It's like a micro.
I had to squeeze them together. It was not comfortable. Your concern over my genitals is much appreciated.
I don't know. Maybe I've just.
And then here is the other thing I picked up, which was a blocky, which when I opened it up turned out to be Ironheart. So not all good news. But those are the other ones you can get. And then that was about it, except for I opened my Menasor. I just took the plunge and opened it.
That's wicked.
And I love him, and I love the colours, and I love it, and it's great. And it was worth every penny, and it was worth all the hassle of trying to find one. And thank you again to Toy Food. Oh, and before I forget as well, Swoop came from In Demand. I should point out.
In Demand, excellent.
Is he suggesting I went full Buffalo Bill or whatever that bloke was called off?
Oh yeah.
What was he called? What's he called? That somebody in the chat will know.
Yeah, don't pretend you haven't tried it though.
Well, since that time with you, Paul, that was different. We don't talk about that. Anyway, Menasor. Yeah, he's great. Interestingly, I don't find his transformation that much. I mean, it is a bit simpler, I suppose, but I don't find it that different to the simplicity of Swoops. It's nice to have a modern figure that you can transform really quickly and simply, and it just feels fun and good to do. And have an older figure that you can also do the same. That's not broken and will never be broken. Go on, you have a question, Pedro.
As he was definitely top priority on your TFM pickup list, and a bit of a grail, if not a grail in the truest sense of the word. Now you've opened him, did you enjoy it as much as you thought you were going to?
Yes.
Good.
Is the short answer. It was great, and I have a little video that might be going up, just of the unboxing and everything. And honestly, it's great. And he is a really difficult figure to find anymore. I don't know the exact details, but people have suggested to me that is because he was very late in the waves of the actual toys, and he was the only new toy in that wave, and there just wasn't a lot of them that seemed to make it out. So yeah, it's one of those ones where you get it and you're not disappointed, which is always good. So,
I just love his face. It's almost like Final Fantasy, like a summon-esque.
Yeah, somebody said something. It's like almost like almost Pokemon-esque, and somebody said something else. Was it Digimon or something? I don't know. But anyway, there you go. He looks good, and I love him. So that's great.
I was thinking about that. TF Nation is like, I've still not recovered. I've really still got to go through my figures. You know, I've obviously got some of the vintage stuff like Goldberg here, and I just want to take the time to enjoy and spend, you know, because that's what I mean. You get these things, you just don't want to put them on the shelf and forget about them. You want to, you know, mess around with them.
I drag out the most. I drag it out, and I've said before on weeks where I've come on and I've had a figure for like 2 weeks and I've not opened it yet.
Is this a reissue?
No, that's the original.
Fucking hell! It's almost like it's been kept in a, I don't know, a timeless cat. I don't know, a cat show. It's timeless. You know, it's just like
it's the condition of it is really, really good, and it's one of those things, you know, the throttle box.
Wall test coming up.
26 times a charm.
40-year-old toy. Can you survive the wall?
Oh dear.
Right, cool. Anything else?
No, that was it. Sorry. Oh, there was one other thing, but I haven't got it with me, and I'll save it. It's fine. It's nothing.
All right. Okay, let's move on to Foreplay then. Foreplay tonight is our favourite leader in Transformers.
Lynn, these are sex people.
What do you mean?
They're sex swappers. Lynn, this is DEFCON 1. Look. Look. Don't make the same noise as them. Don't think you want to join in.
Nigel Lamont. Andy, your one?
Sorry. I was going to go Liz Cross. She wasn't there for long, but you know she lived fast. She died. Well, she's not dead, but she may as well be. Did anybody see that clip from the racing, from the horse racing, where somebody went up in the owners' enclosure and went up to one of these owners to have a chat with them, and stood next to this owner was Liz Truss, and the interviewer had no fucking idea who she was and completely ignored her. It was only the commentator who realised who she was and then made a joke. I can't remember. It was really funny. I'll find the clip for you later, Paul. I'll send you it. You'll appreciate it. Liz Truss, she lived fast. She died young. She burnt out quickly. But my God, did she do absolutely fucking nothing for the country.
So it's nice to tonight's Foreplay is all about our favourite leaders inside the Transformers universe. So there's been many, from Senator Ratbat all the way to the very obvious Optimus Prime. I wonder who's going to choose him. But who would like to kick us off? Peter or Gom, what was your leader of choice tonight?
I'm going to stay on brand, and I'm going to say the Grimlock that appeared in the G1 comics. Grimlock took his place at the head of the Autobot table when Optimus Prime died, and I always felt that he was the leader that the Autobots needed. He was the strongest, the most arrogant. He believed his way was right. He wasn't afraid of getting his hands dirty, and when he started hunting Blaster, because Blaster 40 was, you know, going mad and disagreed with what he was, disagreed with some of his approach. I just thought that the Autobots needed Grimlock, I think, because, you know, we've got Optimus Prime, he's softly, everyone's, you know, freedom is the right as all sentient beings, yada, 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 yada. But the Decepticons there was never a big enough impact for me against the Decepticons. But when Grimlock took charge, it was kind of a bit more, right, I'll do what needs to be done. And I think it was a good turn, because up till that point, reading, you know, that story arc where Grimlock took over, you've got the dumb Grimlock from the cartoons where he was just a stupid Dinobot, and there wasn't really any backlog. But Simon Furman and Bob Budiansky took the character and really explored it and went forward. So for me, sorry,
I was just going to interject. In the UK version, they kept the intelligent speak of Grimlock, and only a kind of bit in the dumber version, dumber speech, where it was obviously an act where he was pretending to be dumb and he never was. I think in the American comics, they started to copy the dialogue of the cartoon, making them kind of dumb, but the UK version kept, they changed that language to make him still sound intelligent until he started to play dumb.
So yeah, for me it was Grimlock, not because he's my favourite character, but I do think the Autobots needed a bit of grit and a bit of aggression, and I think that was, whilst Grimlock might not have been leader for that long, I think he was that leader they needed.
Interesting.
Was that the continuity? Was that the continuity which also kind of got removed? The polar Canadian continuity.
No.
Yeah.
I meant with the original, when he's warring with Blaster and Skynet saved the kids, the orphans, and stuff like that. But yeah, you did have the polar one where he's with the Air Force team and stuck out in the back of Beyond, and he was kind of leader of a motley crew, wasn't he? I suppose. Yeah. So for me, Grimlock.
Not biased at all.
No.
Just coincidence.
I was going to say
Transform as well, which is
I was going to say, wasn't he more of a bad guy leader? I don't know.
Oh,
it's fine. That's fine.
Go next. Now, this guy, this is gonna make John Grieve cream his pants, but I've got to go for old Bluehead himself.
Oh, that's great artwork.
Now, the only thing which separates him from, I don't understand how you can say Hot Rod's a better leader, or Rodimus Prime is a better leader than him. He led the team, got them all off of Earth, got them all up to that planet. The only thing that separates him, he didn't get Prime killed, so there's a +1 for that. The only thing that separates him is when Hot Rod went, I'll use the Matrix now to defeat Galvatron. It worked. Well, what did it fucking work for Ultra Magnus when he stood there, sacrificed himself against Cyclonus and Galvatron? Had he pulled it apart, had the Matrix worked, we would all be hailing him as the greatest Autobot leader of all time. So it's because the Matrix was being a bit of a douche. That's the only reason he's not more better than the actual. So it should be Ultra Magnus. He's my choice for greatest leader.
Your sound was breaking up there, Paul.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. I thought it was just me.
Did you get all the good bits?
All the best? No, not really. We missed probably half. Was it that he's better than better than Rodimus, rather?
He's better than Hot Rod because the Matrix works for Hot Rod, but for some fucking reason it didn't work for Ultra Magnus. Had he opened it up when Galvatron and Cyclonus were absolutely kicking the shit out of him, and he defeated Galvatron, then he would have defeated Cyclonus, everyone would have gone, wow, he's the best leader ever. But for some reason, the Matrix got in a bit of a mood, didn't open up for him, did open up for Hot Rod, maybe he prefers younger boys, and that's why poor old Ultra Magnus should be the best leader ever. It's just an assumption.
Do you think it didn't open because he was single-handedly responsible for the destruction of Autobot City in 1986? Saying. I'm just saying the city got trashed on his watch. You know what I mean? City Commander. City Commander, my ass.
Why didn't Metroplex wake up? Oh, massive Titan. We could give a hand here. We've got Devastator. Oh no, I'm sleeping. Oh, okay, mate. Don't worry.
We got this. You take it easy.
Because it was Ultra's Magnus. It was asking, "Fuck off, Ultra Magnus."
Scepter's here. He'll sort them out. Don't worry.
I love the idea of Metroplex.
What have you got? Microscope. Brilliant. Yep. No, you stay asleep.
Microscope mode. Perfect. Metroplex. Just there, like, you got this, lads. Just I'm gonna sit this one out. You'll be fine.
Yeah, everyone's agreeing with me. You're right, Paul. The Matrix was bias. You're wrong, Pete.
No, the movie was in 1986, not the year it was set. Fuck you, Ed.
That's my choice. Right, Andy.
Feel sorry for Ed. He's in Wales. It's still 1986 there.
It's always 1986 in Wales.
Love you, Ed. Love you, Ed.
Right. I will shock nobody here by not choosing an Autobot. So I'm going to go with a non-G1 leader, and I'm going to go with Megatron from Transformers Prime. Because I still think he is the best version of Megatron in terms of his characterization on screen throughout the series that we've had. And he was brilliantly played by Frank Welker. That was the genius of bringing Frank Welker back to do his voice again. Because he's actually evil. He's like Megatron if he was much more effective. He actually he's winning at points, and he's happy to kill and beat up his own people. He smashes the crap out of Starscream as well, and who doesn't enjoy that? But I just loved him. I thought he was great. I'm not as big a fan of his design, but the actual character itself, the way he led the Decepticons, the way they wrote him in some of the episodes, like there was an episode where he ended up trapped in Bumblebee's mind, and it was really clever the way they kind of wrote that episode, and then had him, spoiler alert, have him kind of taking over Bumblebee, but then how he then escapes eventually. He was evil. He nearly killed some of the human characters, one of the human characters at least, and he didn't seem to give a crap about it, which sent Prime over the edge at one point, which led to a big climactic battle. The relationship he had with Starscream as well, and with his kind of underlings, and the fact that he still was this badass, as he would often remind people, that he learned in the gladiatorial pits of Kaon, and he would take on anyone. Predaking, who was supposed to be this almost invincible big bad, beat him, kicked him out the spaceship, completed it, mate. And did really well, pretty much until the point where he died, because wait, I better not say anything. Spoiler alert, but bad things happen to him eventually. And then Unicron gets involved, and who doesn't involve a bit of Unicron as well? He's great. And I enjoyed that. Normally I'd go for something from G1. I'd go for something from the comic books or from the cartoon. But I thought for a bit of a change, I'll pick one of my other favorite leaders, one of the other performances from the cartoons that I've really enjoyed. And that Megatron in particular, I think was really well done. And again, I give massive credit to Frank Welker, because I think Frank Welker did a tremendous job of portraying a slightly more modern version of the character. A little bit, I want to say funnier, but also just more sinister and almost more evil. Brilliantly done. Brilliantly done. So my vote goes to Transformers Prime Megatron, voiced by Frank Welker. Thank you very much.
Good choice was good. And Jamie, I've got something to add to the stage.
Yeah. Have you want to share that? Yeah, I just wanted to say, so the image file is the CRV file I use, which is basically just, as you said earlier, Canon RAW image file format. Just couldn't remember the exact name I used. So there is my choice for best leader, and it's Scorponok, G1 Scorponok from the Marvel Comics. Not the cartoon version, which was a massive Titan, but just a rather large Decepticon headmaster. I absolutely loved the character in the comics. He was evil, but was he evil or was he just brutal? I mean, that's the question. And I think as you go on to read it, he definitely had a sort of redemption arc. He wasn't like Megatron, who was just a genocidal maniac. In the G1 Marvel, he was strong, he was terrifying, he was brutal, but he had a heroic side which came towards the end of his narrative. But my God, you could understand why he had a bad temper. If you had claws for hands, and you did fingers, and you can't really pick up cups, and do other interesting stuff like put your finger in, I don't know, peanut butter. I just, obviously ignoring some things that you guys might do on your weird Saturday nights. But yeah, yes, I can see why he's got a bad temper when he's got just massive claws. I mean, he can't even shake hands really with anyone, could do anything, open a door, he's fucked, basically. But yes, Scorponok is there. I just loved the way he was drawn. I liked that sort of human type faces. Why do Transformers have teeth? I don't care. It makes them look more terrifying. You know, I always remember that comic in the annual where how he rips up his head so fast, you know, causes him to go into shock. I loved the way he would stand his ground against things like Shockwave and have a fight and beat him. You know, it was. I think Fortress Maximus was the only one who could really match him for brute strength. Fortress Maximus being the most powerful Autobot, much stronger than Grimlock.
And less evil.
Yeah, and less evil. I just liked the whole sort of headmaster arc, and I loved the fact that there was a Decepticon Civil War, which was one of my favourite issues to read before I think the Underbase Saga came and wiped out most of the sort of roster, you know, to make way for new toys. You know, and the thing is, when you read the new sort of Transformer comics, it's now you think, oh, they're quite brutal, but so was the original G1. You kind of forget how brutal it was. Characters were dying left, right, and centre, and I think that's why when the UK audiences saw Transformers the movie, we were hardened. You know, we'd already seen so many deaths, but I think the Americans, God bless their souls, were more invested in the cartoon series, which they probably got to see consecutively compared to the UK, where we didn't. Maybe that explains why I think the UK is more fond of Rodimus Prime as a reader than, let's say, Optimus in some cases. But there he is there again. You know, he's just charging into battle. He's responsible. I mean, he had the Pretenders. He had Trigger Happy, Misfire. He had so many good sort of like famous Decepticons, which we all love as toys. And obviously he died fighting the Chaos Bringer, Unicron. You know, where he just basically rammed right into Unicorn's leg, wasn't he? Just ripping right into it. You know, and he led the charge, you know, from the front to, you know, to make the other Transformers stand their ground.
Who's that talking to him?
That's Prime. Do
you think he died there because he died, or do you think because Zarek died because of whatever wounds he got?
Well, you almost wished.
What if Zarek was still alive and they all just kind of went, "Oh, he's dead, we'll leave him." And Zarek's just stuck in.
I like to think they both died because they both were connected.
Yeah,
you know,
well, that's kind of
sort of gave in.
Insinuated.
Because the thing was, when Scorponok first bonded with Zarek, you know, Scorponok was saying, "I'm the one who's still in charge," you know. And I always remember that, or your daughters will be murdered, you know. And I think he put it in a much more subtle way, but you know, they were reach a vital end, you know. So
he became more human, didn't he? Or at least not human.
Yeah,
but he did. The influence of Zarek started to make him soften him a little bit in some ways.
I think he softened him a lot, and I think he saw so many of his warriors die for needs of thing. The Underbase Saga was a big shock. You know, to basically both Autobots and Decepticons, you know. And then you had Megatron not even giving a damn about it. Yeah, he just wanted to make Starscream again. He bring back the idiot who nearly wiped everyone out. But yes, I think Scorponok is to me was an evil Decepticon who brought a new change in toys like the Headmasters, who brought in a new evolution in Transformers like the Pretenders, and even helped with the Micromasters in many ways as well. And it was a Decepticon who had a redemption arc, you know, which before, I think a lot of people always talk about IDW and the Megatron's redemption arc. You know, this was a guy who had a true redemption arc to me, and he wasn't a genocidal maniac to begin with either. You know, we didn't see that side of him. He was brutal, but he was a damn good Transformer. And that's what he died as, a Transformer, not as an Autobot or a Decepticon, but as a Transformer. So, yeah.
2 Decepticons, 2 Autobots.
This week, I'm going to give it to Paul. I think Paul won that. Magnus was the correct choice.
I do love that.
Was that for your comments about the Matrix? I swung it your way.
Oh, democracy. Right, let's do the discussion.
We now return to the Transformers.
Let's just check in with the donkey song.
Pinky, pinky, funky, daddy bought the donkey. Donkey dies, daddy cries, pinky, pinky, funky.
Backing dancers living their best life.
He should not drink alcohol. I'm just saying it now.
Imagine if we get a copyright strike for that. Jesus.
It's actually a massive, massive hit. Right, so the discussion tonight to end up is all about Hasbro. So we have a chat about what's next for Hasbro. So they've announced some really good profits recently after struggling at the start of the year. A lot of these profits have come from their digital businesses. In terms of their toy and plastic business, they're going to concentrate more on their most profitable lines, which no doubt Transformers will be one of them, along with things like Monopoly, My Little Pony, things I just don't care about. Tell me about the Transformers. So they've already knocked off Core Class, so we know that we're not likely to get many Core Class figures. As a line, it's gone. You may still get some that sort of size. So, guys, what do we do? What do we want Hasbro to do? What do we think we'll do over the coming years as a change in strategy? Hasbro chat.
I thought Pete was going to say something. He looked like he had something he wanted to say.
He does fucking lean back, doesn't he? He goes like that.
Well, it's not my business, but go on, Pete.
Imagine, if you will, a world. They need to be, I guess, moving on now to different series of Transformers, don't they? We've obviously got the Studio Series 86, and they've had the Studio Series in the 2007 line and stuff. Unless they start rehashing the same characters, and to be fair, a lot of them are quality figures now, aren't they? We're not talking they're just going to fire them out quite fast. The engineering and the design that's coming out of a lot of these figures, I guess they do need to start moving through the various series, don't they? Because that original 84, 85, 86 line, they've done it. They've completed it, pretty much. Once we get the throttle bots, obviously.
You're right. Yeah, and I'm sure the Frogbots are just on the horizon, Jamie. But almost getting to the point with 2007, so what, 13, 14, 15, 16 years. So a load of the people we met at the convention were like in their mid-20s, well, quite a lot of them, and were Jamie, and were also into Bayverse as well. Huge Bayverse fans. I do love the Bayverse movies, not all of them. But to them, they're now growing up. Do they need a re-release? And they're probably thinking about that. So we've had Masterpiece, haven't we? We've had re-releases of some of the key Bayverse figures. But could you imagine Hasbro just coming out with a line soon, which is just almost like Studio Series, but just Bayverse? And they just release all the Bayverse spots from the start again, starting with Starscream, Megatron.
I don't
Did they
want
do
to
that in
imagine
Studio Series?
Did they do? Yeah, no, but I'm talking exclusively.
Them
Just
all.
a new line, just Bayverse.
It's possible. Like
I'm not
you
saying
say,
things I
those
want to happen. I do not want that to happen. Don't do that.
I honestly think that would be a poor choice. I think that they want to be targeting the 35-year-old market upwards, because they're the ones who have got, in this economic climate, have still got probably more money, extra money to spend away. But I think the younger generations haven't got that money there yet. And I think the ones who do are probably spending money they shouldn't be. And I think Hasbro's going to, I think when that generation start to hit their 30s, we're going to start to see the toys like Prime and Bayverse, and probably much more frequent, at which point, we'll be at Pete's funeral drinking Chardonnay, so we won't really care that much. But yeah.
No, Chardonnay.
I'll be drinking whiskey. Chardonnay, just to remember you. But
if you were 7 when the first film came out, then you would be 23 now, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. You're probably still a little bit off of getting to that super disposable income period of your life.
I think it's interesting though. I think Hasbro sometimes it's like Baldur's Gate 3 here. It's like Bristow had mentioned, but everyone knows Baldur's Gate 3 was massively successful. I bought it for the PlayStation 5, also have it for the PC. You had people buying duplicate copies, and I know people who I work with and May Lynn works with, people have completed this game 5 or 6 times. you know, and it seems to be a game that's been crossing all sorts of boundaries, and it's done really well because the writing has been spot on. Where the gaming industry is kind of destroying itself because you've got very untalented gaming journalists attacking games because how dare people from other cultures make games and stuff like that under the guise of morality and bullshit like that. You know, Baldur's Gate 3 had fantastic writing, fantastic representation, was absolutely awesome, and is a good hallmark. As long as something's written well and it's a damn good game, people will buy it and don't care. You know, and it gave people freedom and flexibility, and I think if they could do more role-playing games like that, even in a Transformers type format, that would, I mean, it would be hellish to design in that, but you know, if they done that would be just like the ultimate game ever, and it'd just be something that's stupendous. And Britain's got the talent for it. You know, Britain's done the stuff like the Warhammer games as well. You know, for Total War, Electronic Arts, you know, Sega. So I think they should do something which is, instead of these action games we see all the time, do a role-playing adventure game. You know, or even go into the idea of webtoons a bit and maybe do a sort of graphic novel which is interactive. I think they should start hitting that type of side and taking a gamble, get some talented people there. You don't need lots, and just say, look, we'll have faith in you, start producing some stuff, and you'll be surprised, even if they went back and just took G1 stories even. You know, and I think that is something, an avenue that they should definitely take. If I was Hasbro and I was working there, that's what I would say. I would say to take a chance and let's start doing some of this stuff.
What about Skybound? They just went right, Skybound line. That unlikely to happen because it probably hasn't got the reach. But imagine that if they just re-kicked that off.
Yeah,
done that. That would be pretty cool as well.
In terms of the
I think Skybound is a perfect. Sorry. I was
just going to say, in terms of the game, somebody made the point in the chat. I'm trying to remember who it was. Just about kind of like, if you remember that, was it more Fall of Cybertron than War for Cybertron? You had the multiplayer online game, and I remember that being friggin' constantly busy. Any time of the day you could go on that, and you'd be into a game, and there'd be tons of people playing it. And why isn't there more of games like that we can all just go on and just go in as a team? Like, I don't want to say Fortnite necessarily, but like, you go on Fortnite with a group of mates, all teamed up. You know, it's a good laugh. You can have fun with it. I'm not saying it would be exactly the same for a Transformers game, but you'd think they kind of go more down that lane. The computer game aspect of it seems very confused at the moment. That Transformers Reactivate, they're saying it's definitely still coming, but there's rumors swirling around all the time that it might get cancelled or it has been cancelled. I mean, it's just and then they've announced a different game that's coming out before that one. It just, I'm not quite sure what the strategy is in terms of the gaming element. And then, of course, all the card games at TFN. Drew was trying to help with Renegade. Is it Renegade Games or Renegade Studios? I forget what they're called exactly. But, you know, he was there with the games and stuff. They've tried this quite a few times, haven't they, to push like a Transformers card game type based thing. And I don't know if they don't commit to it, but I don't always think it's really well publicized or that people really understand what it means, because we've got is it Vanchard, something like that?
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing, because we're going to on Transformers the show Facebook and even in YouTube, we're going to discuss Vanch a bit, and we're going to discuss, is there actually any love it for there? What's holding you back? Because all I could guess, it's just guesswork, and I would say it's overpriced. There's not reusable of the cards really. I think they should have a system when you use the card and you've already got it, you get some bonus energy on whatever it is to upgrade your thing, but then you should be able to trade it and give it to someone else who can use it. And I think that will give it life. But I think when you try to close systems off to a game which needs adult collectors to support children because it's expensive, I think you're on a downer.
And then I think sorry, go on.
No, you just go, Paul.
I was just going to say that when you look at the last one, Transformers the collectible card game, that failed, didn't it? I think it got to Series 4. Ben will correct me if I'm wrong, but it just felt like you got a pack of cards and there was only one Transformer in there, and the rest of the cards were like a play card, a move card, or like a weapons pack or something. And as much as it has to be a good game, which that Advance might be, you need to be able to pick up a pack and go, oh, cool, I've got 3 or 4 Transformers in there. That's when they always go about Star Trek. But one of the best things about the Star Trek, you pick a pack up, you get one rare, so you might get a Picard. The more famous the person was, the more rarer they were. You'd get like a couple of starships, and then you'd get a few playing cards. It was a good mix. But the collectible game was just too many of those boring cards that kind of kept the game going. It was too almost on the play side rather than the collectible side.
I've got a question for you, Paul. Do you think because that failed and other card games have failed and other ones are coming out are failing, do you think when things like launch, people are just like shying out? They're just thinking, well, this will probably fail, so I'm not going to invest in it.
You want it to go on for like years. Like a lot of card games will go on. Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, even Star Trek still goes on now. Sort of 20, 30 years afterwards. You want to be able to commit to it and keep playing that game and enjoy it and find people to play. If people aren't buying it or buying into it, it's going to be hard to find someone to have a game.
You need to have somewhere you can have the community, where you can get together with other gamers, people who are into the same thing, and you can play with them. And that generally is going to mean doing something online, because it's not always possible for people, like us, scattered around the country. We can't just meet up to play a card.
One idea is because was for Transformers the show to host an event at things like TF Nation. We arranged to meet in a pub and we have a mini competition, or arranged to have a room somewhere where we could have this competition with card games.
Star Trek.
Yeah, back into Star Trek. Keep it quiet.
Show me. Let's play Star Trek.
And if anyone official walks in, just swap the cards. They'll be all Transformers. And you'll be like, oh, I like Optimus Prime.
Yeah. Oh, snap! I'll see.
We'll tell people there'll be cake, but there will not be cake.
So that's one thing they can do. Then I guess we can get. They can expand that better. I think what drives it, I think the 2 drivers, aren't they, is the whatever mini series is going on, like the Cybertronian series, and whatever films going on, like we've got Transformers 1 at the moment. That's got to be the main driver of what affects Hasbro in terms of its Transformers toys. So a lot of it depends on whether they land a good series.
And I think the thing is where they've struggled, or not struggled, but probably done it half-assed, is that with the 2007 film, they had some comic prequels and they tried to run, some written media alongside it. They then launched Transformers Prime, like not long after it, and said it was part of the aligned continuity, but it wasn't really linked to it. Whereas I think with Transformers 1, spoiler free, they've set it up in a way that there's so many avenues, because it's right at the beginning. There's so many branches they could go off into, in terms of games, series, even, written media and stuff, to make it genuinely an all-encompassing universe. And I think that's where the success is, because we know, like Cyberverse or Earthspark, it will get so far and people will be invested and they go, right, no, we're going to go in a different direction. So you spend all this money on toys and all the other, collectible bits of that, the media and stuff. And then you go, okay, put it in a box. Right, different direction.
Do you think in the case of Transformers 1, you should have maybe like a council kind of watching the people who are moving Transformers 1 forward story-wise? Because the only thing I worry about is, I think when you look at Netflix, for example, you got One Piece, fantastic. And that's because the author remained complete control. Anything he didn't like, it didn't happen. But what he did allow for was flexibility and growth. So you got an absolutely awesome TV series from that. And then, but then you had things like The Witcher, where the director and the writing team, not all the writers though, because the writers have been arguing about this, said to Netflix, oh, we love The Witcher. Oh, yes, we want to do this. Then once they got the job, they're like, you don't actually like that author or the story, so this is what we're going to do with the character. Where you want to make sure the people who do the job are either professional enough to actually respect the source material and to and to let it grow and develop and do a good professional job, or people who absolutely love it and will do that professional job without need to worry about it. But get rid of those poison apples, the people who say all the right things at the interview, but really they want to tell their story. And maybe you should ask, do you want to do your own sci-fi novel story, something in your own mind, and find out what they actually want to write about, and go, good, why don't you do that with another company? You know, because we want someone who cares about Transformers, because I think it's those people who spoil things and they'll use every lie going to defend why they're doing something, rather than admit they just got no talent.
And I think that's a great point that I think they've done with Skybound, is that, you know, the same guy does the artwork as well as is writing the story, and you can see that they've just stood back and go, tell a story and look at it. You know, you've got someone that you know that cares about it, and it's taken so long. You know, it took so long from Skybound getting the license to announcing the comic series, probably because it's all written and done, you know, the first X amount of story arcs and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think you can see that Hasbro have said, go on and tell the story. But the thing is, as great as it is, it's still sitting over here on its own, isn't it? You know, it's not going to tie into anything because you've got Transformers 1 over here going in a different direction, and it doesn't link to any of the other stuff either.
I like that, because I think we discussed when that comic was first coming out, and what he does is you had gatekeepers saying, oh, that must have this and it must have this, and they'll use checkbox list sometimes gets overused, but they're almost saying it has to have all this in it, and they're almost going to strangle the thing before it got out, you know, the cage. And it was basically just let him do what he wants to do, let it grow. When something grows and it gets bigger and wider, then you can start adding stuff, but let it develop first. You know, don't strangle it by false expectations, especially when sometimes a lot of those gatekeepers probably would never buy the damn comic to begin with.
Charlie's made a comment in the chat that the author, I've forgotten his name now, but referred to him as DWJ, is leaving after issue number 24.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But does that then put that at risk? Will the person who follows, or people who follow on from him, kind of have the same vision?
Are you suggesting we should kidnap him and force him to continue to write forever?
I mean,
right for us.
No. I mean, I didn't even suggest
better change your plans in.
Jamie, prepare the page.
Apparently it's the same writer who helped co-write The Last Night, so it should be on for a right roller coaster.
Oh, what's I'm doing?
Oh dear!
It's a GoBot creator. No,
but there does need to be some continuity. I think.
Don't you think though that the point of Transformers, Pete, is there hasn't, since the 80s cartoon and the 80s comic books, it's been like always been on like a 3 to 5 year cycle, and it gets to the end of that cycle and you go, right, renew it again, do it all over again, renew it again, do it all over again. And I think sometimes it suffers a bit from that, whereas other franchises like Star Trek, like Star Wars, kind of your big franchises that have huge followings and everything, yes, they have new iterations and stuff like that, but you've still got like the core history that mostly remains the same throughout.
I don't
Whereas
think that was the case.
The aligned continuity was the whole attempt to create, because of all the messy strands and the different versions of the story. Yeah. Hasbro themselves said the aligned continuity was try to pull that all together and go for one
animation.
You know,
I would agree with you there. I don't think IDW followed pretty much.
No, well, IDW seemed to have more of a freedom to kind of express themselves and did it very, very well, which actually I think was to its credit and part of the reason why it was so popular. But it wasn't universally loved. I mean, critics loved it. A lot of us as fans loved it. But it also has people who hated kind of what it did because they just saw it as, well, they were fucking wrong.
Maybe
but
just a few good-looking individuals out there.
Exactly. You know, all those people.
Standing against the void.
But I don't get it. And I don't want to get into an argument and a debate about, like, why do people not like IDW? It's brilliant. But it just shows that there isn't, and there hasn't been at any point really after the G1, like that entire kind of, even Beast Wars, which is probably the most critically acclaimed of the cartoons, certainly, and is beloved with the Transformers. And they're probably a lot of the people who are of that age now like you said, JD, who have the expendable cash, and that's why Hasbro have released more and more of the Beast Wars toys again. But even for them, like even at that time, you had the old guard, probably like us, that saw it, or like the Truck Not Monkey group, and so you still got that little element of division because it didn't feel at first. I know they've say now it's part of the G1 continuity, and as they wrote it, they started to come up with ideas to tie it in, but there's never been that real unity to the story and kind of how it's progressed. And it'd be interesting to see if they're going to use Transformers 1 as a genuine opportunity to try and put something in place to continue forwards, or whether it's just going to be again in about 3 to 5 years we'll just get the next iteration.
I think a lot of companies, actually I'm not sure now, but I would say a lot of companies do suffer from always reinventing the wheel and getting stuck in a rut of talking about reinventing the wheel and not doing much. So something just gets thrown out because they start to panic, or when something works quite well, like Prime, I think worked quite well, they start to cut back the money for some silly reason because like any company, they start to invest into something else. And like sometimes their main products suffer.
Yeah, and it's a difficult one because I'm sure Hasbro would come back and say, well, doing that is what's kept this brand alive for 40 years, that they've refreshed it, and it does bring in different characters, different iterations of the same character, or at least in name, and different versions of them. There'll be people even watch us. Not everybody who watches us is as young as we are. There'll be older people too, and they will have their own favorite characters and their own favorite iteration. Look, just go with me on this, Jamie. I'm trying to help you. But but the point is, like, there's always going to be that division. You go to TFN and there's people who like every version of Transformers. Yes, even Kiss players. Not me, just to be
especially Kiss players.
But everybody coexists. You don't generally tend to get people who are just slagging off one or the other, apart from Pete and Beast Wars, obviously. So, you just kind of get on with it. It'd just be interesting. I just don't think we've ever had it in Transformers, and I struggle to see how they're going to create it, because that's what the aligned continuity was meant to do. And they kind of abandoned that after a decent amount of years, but they kind of abandoned it. But there's obviously things that we have from Transformers lore that now have to be part of Transformers that we see. And you guys have seen Transformers 1. I don't know if we've mentioned that, but you have. And so but it'd be interesting for me to see how many of those elements, not just from G1, but from the other, Transformers series we've had over the years, are referenced or are little Easter eggs that we see as we go through it. My understanding from the rumors, there's quite a few.
Well, I turned to Pete quite a lot during that and hurt my neck, so that might give you an indication.
And is it? Because I was going to pick up on that. Was it, in your guys' views, is it impactful enough to almost restart a reboot of Transformers like Bayverse did, like Prime did, like Beast Wars did? I guess.
Me personally, I think yes.
Yeah, Spider-Father cried.
I think it did a fantastic job at not only telling a story, a standalone story, but laying a foundation.
Sounding like a review, Hasbro lawyers.
You see, somebody was on, I won't name them, but somebody was on Twitter, and they actually put a message and added Hasbro and basically said, what in your eyes actually constitutes a review? Because I need to know what I can say before I actually comment. Somebody from another podcast. I know we've never heard from him again.
But it was very well done, but genuinely, hand on heart, if you then fast forward in 2 years and said, right, we've got a comic book running line that's going to span between, I don't know, the month TF1 came out, and then 24 months later when they released a series, so the comics, the last episode, the last issue of that comic becomes the first episode of the series, and they start to sprinkle in some other characters and stuff, and then that ties in nicely to TF1, the adventure, the next film or whatever. People buy into it, and it's a journey. And I get the different iterations of I get all of that, but then it stops. and they cut it off, and they forget about it, and they put it in a box, and they go down a different line. And I feel that you don't get people that are taken on a journey.
I feel that that could work exactly, and I also feel, but sometimes I think we're too focused on a shared universe or continuity, and I think sometimes, you know, we should have different universes, different timelines, and not worry about it too much. I think kids are very apt at dealing with that, and you'd hope adult collectors are as well when it comes to reading the source materials and putting them into compartments. And I think sometimes that allows such good creation, but you get wonderful characters and wonderful stories, which at a later point people can consolidate and see this is part of an official universe, which would create excitement in itself. And I think we've always done stuff like that. I nearly said it, but you know, Legends were famous for that, weren't they? Legends would all, you're not real, I'm sorry, but you're not. But they would get all different stories and put them together and say, oh, this is now part of this book, you know.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's been doing for thousands of years, you know, some of the good classic Legends. You know, so
Hasbro, the next failed religion.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
Church of Hasbro.
Yeah,
you have to pay to get in.
The only thing that it hasn't got now that Transformers always had is when Transformers landed, when the robots were robots in disguise and they could transform. That was so refreshing, wasn't it? It was so new, and it was something no toys had done before, and it came from Japan, and it looked awesome, and it was everything futuristic with. And it's not a gimmick. It's so unfair to call it a gimmick. Something would transform from a car to a robot. It was just something revolutionary. It can't do that now. It hasn't got that. It hasn't got a new thing to kickstart it. So it can only do things now and with story, like with the Bayverse movies and with Transformers 1. So if there isn't that to carry on Transformers to generate interest, I think that's the main driver. I think if we lose that, if Transformers 1 doesn't engage kids who are age 6 to 14, who go, oh yeah, I love that, then we'll go through a period, won't we? It's a license. It's always going to generate some sort of interest, like Star Trek does and Star Wars, but you're going to go through lulls and periods. But again, like the Mandalorians regenerated, like the last series of Picard and Star Trek, it needs that really good story to boost it.
I think that we've talked a lot about like comic books and also about games. Sorry, not comics, cartoon series. But I think comic books, like we grew up with a comic book that, like, particularly me and Jamie. I mean, I've spoken to other Transformers fans of a similar age to us. That comic book it shaped your childhood. Like it was what got you into reading, and it was written at a really high level.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last Transformers comic book aimed at kids that wasn't tripe. Like, that wasn't done as more of the kind of schlocky throwaway magazines that a lot of the stuff that aimed at kids is now. And that ongoing story arc that you got in it that was written at a fairly high level to really kind of push you. Even as a kid, there were words in there that I didn't understand when I read them, what they meant.
Yeah.
But I could ask a parent, or for Christ's sake, I could get a dictionary. I mean, I didn't, but you can get a dictionary out and have a look or something. And it definitely helped me because I wanted to know, well, what does that mean? And you could tell as you read it, it was a high level. I just don't think there's anything like that for kids now. And I know that there's the Skybound, but you're not going to go pop to your local newsagents generally.
Skybound is not using
Skybound
it's high reading age.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the point. It's great for adults, but adult collectors, we love it. But where's the stuff for the kids?
I think Skybound is not hitting reading age for it's a bit contentious, but I think Skybound reading age is quite low, especially in comparison to Transformers G1 comics. You just have to look at the word count, and then you count the number of words, and then you're dividing, what you do to find the reading age, and it's terribly low. And the words they're using as well is, again, we've got to remember, Bodansky was from an engineer sort of science background, so a lot of words he would use was part of his vocabulary to begin with, so you would just put them in there, and he understood how they worked and the dynamic. And I think sometimes writers, doesn't mean they're bad, I'm not saying that in any way, but if they don't have a life experience of something else or another career or that kind, it's going to be hard. They're going to be borrowing stuff, and they're going to be using stuff which they're not really happy with, so it doesn't flow. And as I say before, I think the reading age is quite low. Does it make it bad? No. but it is where I think the reading age of G1 Marvel comics, if you look at it and you did any test, was damn high.
It was.
Especially at the early stages.
I mean, that comic book was quoting, you know, you're reading stories and reading quotes that were from friggin' Shakespeare and another like things that you wouldn't go on to study properly until you got to like secondary school. And yeah, I just think when I look at like I said, because I have children, and at least 3 of the children that I mean, my eldest is 25 now. He read a Transformers magazine that had a very what I'd call kiddified story, or based around, initially I think it was Transformers animated at the time, and then what they did was they were reprinting like the Dreamwave and the IDW stuff in the back. So like I remember he's got a load of magazines which are still in a box somewhere, and in the back story in it, the backup story was All Hail Megatron from the beginning, going pretty much all the way through, which is like, if you compare that comic strip to the one that's in the front, that's, you know, selling them. I mean, it's just such a higher level. And even my son Liam used to say, like, this one, the one in the back, the All Hail Megatron. Wow, like the artwork, the story. Even though I know some people
that in education. I think when you try to dumb down comic books and make them certain reading ages, they miss the mark completely, because they're almost trying to treat children like factories.
You won't be challenged as a kid.
Yeah.
I remember reading it. The same thing as you, Andy. You would read words that you didn't understand, but that wasn't a thing where you thought, oh, fuck this, I'm not going to read it. It almost made you more intrigued and stuff, because it felt like they weren't treating you like as a child. And that's what you get as a child, isn't it? You get treated like a child non-stop, and you can read something. And I remember going from Transformers, when it sort of faded out, straight into 2000 AD, which again, when I was like 8 and 9 years old, was probably a bit too much. But I loved it. Like, and it was the Transform. And when I went back, I remember looking at. I remember going back to He-Man and reading the He-Man comics, and they're so episodic, and it was so like, oh, let's go on an adventure, come back. It was nothing about it was as good as Transformers, the Marvel UK comics, or the 2000 AD comics over their time. Yeah, such a good point.
Well, Ghostbusters even had a high reading age as well. I honestly think I was a lot of words I learned from reading those type of comics, which did put me in good stead. And I didn't know how to pronounce them, but I could read them. And I knew what they meant, and it gave me such an advantage. It really increased my reading age, and I don't think if it was for Transformers, I would have done as well in school, and I would have went on to do sciences.
Yeah, I think it gave you more of a desire to learn and to find out more. I know my reading age, I think, definitely shot up from reading the Transformers comics, which I know sounds ridiculous, but it then made me kind of like, I could read something of a higher level, and I understood more of it because the language and stuff was grown up in certain books, and it was grown up in the comic. At least, this is going to sound really harsh, but the UK version of the comic particularly, I always found I could tell a difference with the US stories, which seemed a little bit more dumbed down. Not completely, but just not really hitting the heights that the UK comic did. But again, I might be biased on that. I don't know. No, it's just how I felt.
The Judge Dredd was nice and gritty in the UK, and then they released it in the US, and it was really watered down, very simple. And I remember picking up the Judge Dredd and reading it like, oh, I've got the American issues because they re-released them. And I was reading it going, this is absolute dross. It's not.
Yeah, but I can remember picking up the UK comic, and like you get like the US story maybe in the front, and then you get the UK one carrying in the second half. And again, a bit like Liam's comics. It's like there was a noticeable difference in the quality, in my opinion, anyway.
I think that some music artists who I won't name were complaining about that with the music industry, saying, you know, it used to be a time it was like 1 or 2 writers, and it was, you know, you put your heart into this and you could break down this song, and now you've got some people who've got a team of 16 writers, you know, and it just have no clue what this is. It's just like manufactured to try to get into people's heads, and it's just it's lost that sort of creativity, that story that it's trying to tell you. And I think even if you're not that level to fully appreciate it, the fact that you're looking up is a step enough in my book. And I think that's what a lot of those early comics did. They encouraged you to, you know, to aim higher. Doesn't mean you need to achieve it, but I think when you set something low or level, it's just not fun, is it? It's like playing a game which you're just constantly going to be winning all the time with no
kids love
effort.
being challenged, and they love achieving the challenge, and then the feeling that gives them, and then going on to
That's
the next
why
one.
when I get my kids, I like to lock them in a closet and say, "Work
You say
out
your
code
kids.
in the dark." Random
his kids now.
Have we even mentioned the toys at this stage? I know we've talked a lot about the other elements. Is there? Do we think the toys should go in any particular direction? We've got Robosen, we've got the robotics element coming in. We've talked about printing your own Transformers at some stage in the future. With people who've got 3D printers like Sam's Forge.
Question there. Someone's went, is it the definitive G1 collection's coming out? And I would say, is it definitive? Does it have the UK stories in there? Does it have the UK editing? And I think not, my good friend. I might be wrong. I doubt it. And so I would say not get the definitive version. In fact, find the original UK G1 comics and just have an orgasm of reading the Transformer universe. That's what I say.
Not on the comics, though, because you'll be
reading it on the screen, and you can,
if you paid for it.
Used to it.
But you're never going to read it.
If you get the definitive collection, you get the perk of having both the US and the UK.
Are you sure, though?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Wrong.
Don't make me bitch slap you live on the internet.
I think
I will grab one. I think you're completely wrong.
Because it has all the US anyway. Why would you want? No.
I don't
in terms
know.
of how
books,
right?
How Hasbro can make money. I've got an idea, right? And I've said this before.
These ones are good. Read these ones. Go on. Sorry, you were saying.
All they have to do is that fucking thing. You know when they release stuff and they go, right, buy episode 1, build the Titanic like life size. Episode 1, issue 1's like $1.99, and it's like £50 million to build the whole thing. But, and I would pay this if they'd done it where it was just an issue and it was every single Transformer each week. Now the Transformer would be the size of an Action Master, but they could transform as well. But that you could stand them, they put all the effort into the robot mode, and you could stand it as an Action Master size. And every week or every month, a new Transformer will come out, and they would do every Transformer. Start with G1, go from there, hundreds and hundreds of episodes, and you'd have every Transformer all the same size. The Scorponok would be the same size as Bumblebee. They'd have a little transformation as well. That would be lush. Hasbro do that. You get to collect them, and there'd be rare ones.
Why didn't they? They had the opportunity to do a spotlight issue with the blockies. You get a blocky and a spotlight kind of magazine, or even a storyline that involves each of those characters. A bit like a story arc. Yeah, that'd have been perfect.
I don't like blockies.
You say you don't know.
Yeah.
Give away a blocky every month.
Dr. Hasbro.
Charlie's got a new bloke every month. I'll block you. Eva's fine.
Slut.
Right.
Judgy.
I think we've done that to death.
That's the way. Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching tonight. It's been an absolute honor. Thanks to my co-host for joining the show. Head over to our TikTok, Transformers the Show. Or head over to Facebook, Transformers the Show as well, or TF Show UK on Twitter. You can see our handles there if you want to find us on the X. Other than that, we'll see you next week, hopefully, at 8 o'clock on the Friday night. Thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate it. See you later.